Okay, let's dive in. We're tackling the world of Bitcoin today, using those sources you shared with us. The idea is to sift through all the recent updates and pull out what really matters right now.
Exactly. Our mission here is just to quickly grab the main nuggets, the key insights from that material, covering, price stuff, regulatory talk, adoption trends, market analysis, and what the community's buzzing about.
Okay, so first up, price. Your sources flagged some interesting movements, specifically Bitcoin bouncing around that $40,000 level.
Yeah, quite a bit of fluctuation.
And what stood out was how the material didn't just point to crypto trends, but specifically linked these swings to, well, broader economic things.
Right, like the inflation data you mentioned and those global liquidity forecasts. That was explicitly called out.
It's fascinating how quickly it reacts, isn't it? This digital asset responding to traditional macro signals.
Uh-huh. The sources sort of painted a picture of traders watching those external factors just as closely as, say, on-chain metrics. It really shows how, interconnected Bitcoin is becoming with the wider financial system.
And speaking of those outside forces, regulation, that came up a lot in the material you sent. It's clearly a global thing now.
Oh, absolutely. Not just one region. The sources specifically mentioned ongoing talks in, like, the big economic areas, citing examples like debates happening in the European Union, shifts in stance from U.S. regulatory bodies. It's happening everywhere.
And the crucial bit, according to your material, seems to be how these discussions, even before any rules are set in stone.
Yeah, exactly. They're already shaping market perceptions, investor confidence, sometimes creating a bit of uncertainty, other times maybe hinting at future rules. It has a real effect.
Okay, so if the economy and regulation are shaping how people feel about Bitcoin, how's that translating into actual use? Adoption trends were next, right?
Yes, and the material gave some solid examples here. Moving beyond just, vague interest, it mentioned companies still putting Bitcoin into their corporate treasuries, not just buying and holding, but looking at using it operationally.
And not just small players either. The sources specifically highlighted notable institutions, big names.
Right. Exploring or even announcing direct investments, or maybe forming strategic partnerships in the digital asset world.
We're talking established financial players mentioned right there in your material, starting to make moves that suggest they're looking longer term.
And that real-world action feeds right into the next piece, market analysis. Your sources show there's quite a debate going on
Yeah.
among analysts, looking at the short-term picture versus, the long-term outlook for Bitcoin.
And the material laid out the factors they're weighing up. It's things like ongoing inflation worries,
Uh-huh. Is Bitcoin actually a hedge? How does that work?
and then the institutional interest. How does that really impact the market day to day? Stability, volatility.
And crucially, the tech side. Developments within Bitcoin itself. How does that change the value proposition?
Your sources made it clear there's no single answer right now. It's analysts trying to balance all these different interconnected things.
Which kind of naturally brings us to the community, the heartbeat of it all. Your sources show they are very active,
Yeah, the material pointed to discussions about everything from core tech upgrades.
like scaling solutions, right?
Yeah.
Making transactions faster, cheaper,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Exactly. To those big debates about mining's environmental footprint and the push towards renewables, that was specifically mentioned.
And of course, the community is also digging into the regulatory challenges we just talked about, analyzing proposals, think about what they mean for like decentralization, holding your own keys. They're really engaged.
So it shows a community that's not just passive, but actively grappling with all these forces shaping Bitcoin's future. So, wow, in just a few minutes, we've really done a quick tour, haven't we? Price reacting to economics, global regulation talks, actual adoption examples, the analyst debates, community discussions, all pulled from the material you provided.
Yeah, the goal was just that. Distill the key takeaways from your sources quickly, get you up to speed on the recent shifts. Because understanding how these different pieces fit together, well, it's pretty essential if you're paying attention to this space.
And maybe a final thought to leave you with, just thinking about how interconnected this all is based on your sources. How does, say, one regulatory move in a major country ripple out and affect the price globally?
Right. And how might a tech debate that the community is having right now, also noted in the sources, influence whether big institutions get more involved later on?
When you see it all laid out like that,
Right.
which of these threads really grabs your attention the most right now? Price, regulation, adoption, analysis, or the community buzz? Something to think about.